How's it going, everyone? It's Milwaukee coming back at you once again. And today we're going to be discussing Justice League, The Throne of Atlantis by Jeff Johns with art by Ivan Reyes and Paul Pelletier. Let's get into it. This volume of Justice League contains Justice League 13 through 17 and Aquaman 15 and 16. Volume starts off with issue 13, where the Justice League track down the villain known as the Cheetah. And we get a backstory where Steve Trevor is meeting up with Green Arrow. What could that be leading to? In issue 14, we learn the Cheetah's true origin plus Wonder Woman and Superman grow closer together. And of course, in the backstory, the Shazam story continues, but who cares about that? In Aquaman, issue 14, Aquaman and his brother meet up as someone frees the monsters from the trench. In Justice League 15, tidal waves decimate the East Coast. In Aquaman number 15, Aquaman explains the situation to the Justice League while the Atlanteans pick a city to sink. In issue 16 of Justice League, team infighting leads to the capture of the Justice League. In Aquaman number 16, Cyborg gets some upgrades, and the true villain, the cause of all this chaos, is revealed. And in Justice League number 17, the Justice League and the Grid beat back the trench monsters, the fish people from Aquaman and the Trench. They're back. Who knew? You know, as far as this volume of Justice League goes, The Throne of Atlantis, pretty epic battle. Nice to see the coming together of the two titles, Aquaman and Justice League, both written by Jeff Johns. The Atlanteans, they're a true threat, even though they're always depicted as like the people don't believe the Atlantis is real. Every time you see Atlantis, it looks like just a couple of buildings on the bottom of the sea floor. Where are they housing these armies? I don't know. It's got to be bigger than it's depicted, right? The fact that the Atlanteans are using technology to sink cities, right straight out of Flashpoint. I really enjoyed that. A highlight has to be the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship going on here in the Justice League book. The dynamics are a little different than what one might expect because, as Superman was always very protective of Lois Lane, here in the New 52, in the Superman-Wonder Woman relationship, is Wonder Woman who's always coming to Superman's aid. It's Wonder Woman who's always protective of Superman, which is a little bit different, a little bit refreshing, I'll admit, and makes me intrigued to read the Wonder Woman book coming up here pretty soon. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to get to it. And the New 52 Wonder Woman, seems pretty interesting to me. I've only read her thus far in the Justice League titles, and, she's pretty badass, whatever. We'll see what happens with that. The twist villain. I should have saw it coming, but I didn't. I forgot this guy was even in the book. So focused, on Ocean Master and, the Justice League and all this stuff going on with Aquaman and, his infighting with Batman and stuff. But that's like a negative, the team infighting. You guys know how I feel about that. But, this villain came out of left field and I was like, oh, yeah. And it all made sense. I won't spoil who it is, but should have saw it coming. Who would want the Atlanteans to take on the people of, the land people of Earth, right? Good stuff there. Also, once I saw the trench villains, the fish people from Aquaman the Trench, I complained in that video about how just as soon as that story got going, it got over with, and I wasn't sure if we were going to see them again, but they're back here, and of course, it's kind of predictable what happens. You got the Atlanteans taking on the people of, the United States, the Justice League, essentially, and then all of a sudden here comes this third party. Gee, I wonder if these two teams are going to team up. Well, not teams, but, the Atlanteans and the people of, America or whatever, team up against this greater threat of the Trench, who's just going to eat everybody. So, yeah, kind of predictable in that way. But predictable doesn't always mean bad. You knew the conflict was going to have to come to an end anyway. And Aquaman was personally betrayed by the Justice League at the end of this book. And it's all leading, I believe, into forever evil. So I'm looking forward to seeing the ramifications of the outcome of this book down the line. We're going to have to stay tuned to see what happens. And like I said, negative for this volume, the constant infighting of the Justice League. Team member versus team member. Sure, here maybe it's a little bit more justified with Aquaman being torn between his Atlantean heritage, which he doesn't want nothing to do with, by the way, and his being a member of the Justice League. And so, him going up against the Justice League members, it's like, it's a little bit more acceptable than when, Green Lantern randomly punches out Wonder Woman in the middle of the street for no reason, right? But, yeah, the infighting, leads to the capture of the Justice League, and the Justice League is taken down to the bottom of the sea, by the trench people. They're going to get eaten or whatever, and, never would have happened if they weren't fighting each other. And like I said, at the end of this volume, with what happens with Ocean Master, and Aquaman, and Superman, intrigued to see what happens next. Tensions are high, right? We'll see. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give Justice League, The Throne of Atlantis, a 5 out of 5. This book and the Aquaman Throne of Atlantis book, they're basically the same book. Aquaman has more issues, but it's the same story. Whichever one you get, they're both going to be 5 out of 5s. Spoilers, I guess, for the next video. But until next time, I'll see you there.